Okay, jumping immediately forward. So we've done the inner child energies, we've done the internal energies, and now we are moving into what this is looking like in the external energies for the masculine and the feminine. Okay, I drew 2 cards each in these categories because it felt like more wanted to come through. And after this, we're going to also tune into where it is that we're going with this. All right, so for the feminine, we got the 10 of Pentacles and the 4 of Cups. Okay, so externally, what I'm seeing, and I feel like this is also a reflection of myself and my own journey in a lot of ways, but it's just like when the wish comes true, and when you're on the precipice of the dreams coming true, are you ready for them? Okay, so this is wishes coming true. This is the physicalization. This is the happy life. This is the partner. This is the family. This is the career. However this card manifests for you. Also, what's fun in this is the same in the Seers of Light, the 6 of Visions card is a man who's like been, doing some bridge work with his dog. So the 6 of Cups is mirrored here, is showing that like the bridge work that's being done is helping manifest this physical. All right. Now, I think that part of the invitation here is there's a little bit of a grief going on. There's this 4 of Cups energy is always so funny to me because it's like you miss the beauty of it's a little depressive, this card. It's a little bit of like too much in your own head, too much in your own woe is me, too much of like, which way do I look? There's so much indecision in this card, right? Now, she's got all these beautiful singing bowls. She's got these tools available to help, but she's kind of stuck in like, is this really where I want to go? Now, what I think in this is, and we can get ahead of our own processing, right? I know that for the last couple years, I've had a lot of false start relationships or connections that I felt very divinely guided to move with and process with. And I knew in the processing, I was just acknowledging my own fears around it. So I personally really would like to have a family and get married and to find what that co-creative path is with another. What I fear in that is the loss of my freedom, is missing my old life too much, feeling too constricted by this vision, basically, by the manifestation of this vision, to the point where I would then fail at achieving this. Now, and I think that this is a difficult part as we reach new steps of our lives. There's parts of me that miss when I was early on in my career and, and wasn't doing my own thing. I was working for other people. Like there was a sense of community that was being developed from that, but it wasn't my community. It wasn't in my energy. And now I'm in this next phase where I've developed it for myself and I get to relish in the community that is drawn and attracted to the energy and the vision that I'm bringing forth. Now, there's still a nostalgia for those other times, for what the past contained, for the way I was free then, for the way that, like, sometimes I even miss the, like, that angst, and I still get angsty, but it's a different type of angst now, and I'm not spiraling with the same thing over and over again. Okay, so I do think that physically there might be a little back and forth within the feminine dynamic of like, yes, I really want this thing and I'm excited for the thing, but like also like, what does that mean about all this other stuff that I've created? Or what does that mean about giving up different parts of myself so that these new parts of myself can emerge? It's really hard to continue to have these deaths, especially when we have established what we are on an ego level. Or not even on ego level, but what we are in that time, like I love being viewed as this wild and free spirit who just takes adventures and like lives this magical life. And I fear that by cultivating this, I am settling and I'm doing something that isn't of my true nature. it is a fear. I wouldn't have the desire to have this if it wasn't meant to be. Okay. So I think that that's kind of the external processing, and that's kind of showing up in that. Now, there is a bridge component too to this same thing. It's the cultivation of this new vision with the nostalgia of the old one. Okay, so with the masculine, all right, we get some Three of Swords energy and the moon, okay? Three of Swords came out first, and I drew another with the moon. Now, the moon, same, right? Came up here, all right? So this was the third energy for the masculine and feminine for the inner child. And this was, the High Priestess, which is connected to the moon for the masculine, for the inner child, okay? So what I'm seeing forward with this, all right? So this is not a super fun energy, the Three of Swords. There's a lot of tear down coming within. So I think what this means for the masculine, and I can use the moon to guide this is kind of a full body subconscious clearing. I did watch a astrology update. I think it's called Raising Vibrations. I'll have to double check. But the guy I watched talked about how this particular lunation cycle, and again, these energies will apply to you when you find this video, but we're talking right now June full moon to, or June new moon to July full moon 2025. And said that there's a lot astrologically that's kind of taking us back into these old patterns, and like an invitation to more fully release them. So there's a lot of the ways that we've been karmic powerhouses. We're getting the insights around how we're a karmic powerhouse, and then getting to remove ourselves from those stories, all right? But in able to do that, you really have to get tapped into this inner conscious, to this subconscious realm. You have to kind of dive deep in, and I love that this is a swords energy, right? Because it's like the heart is featured here. It almost feels, so it's like how the mind impacts the heart. And it's kind of like being mad at the self for all the ways you messed it up before, or that your ancestors messed it up before, or, how this has been a pattern, like all these patterns, and like how they've been destructive to the heart, and how we want to break free of them, how we want to break free of these elusive natures. Now, there is a balance here of the masculine and feminine in this dualistic nature, and which has been coming forth, in a lot of these cards too. It's, the balance of the masculine and feminine. I almost want to say that this is the masculine's realization that the feminine has been right all along, and it's just like, and that might be my ego coming forward, but just like, almost just like, oh my God, she's been fucking right. Why didn't I listen to her sooner? And so, this external energy coming forth with this internal energy, it might feel a little messy outwardly, okay? And I've been thinking about that for myself, is this like volcanic energy, okay? So, it's like if the volcano has been, like doing all of this like work within, it's kind of bubbling up and the stuff is coming up, and then it has to explode. Sometimes it has to rupture, all right? And it's like, as we have these rupturing moments, how do we hold ourselves and each other to be in our fullest expression and also not let it damage the third energy? I feel like that's a huge invitation that's being asked forward here. Okay, so the third energy showing up externally is the Queen of Swords and the Eight of Cups, okay? What this shows me is that the third energy is gaining a clear, grounded insight with clear boundaries, able to hold the vision forward, right? And the old patterns of the past and the old emotional bullshit is being left behind, all right? Now, because of the way the cards are positioned and how they were drawn, there is a review of this going on. So I feel like in the third energy, that means that there might be conversations, either internally or externally, coming up around how the past impacted the present. And this feels very grounded. This doesn't feel dramatic, all right? It's like we've got to do that work so that we can release. I'm going to tune in with the regular tarot at this time. And we're going to see where is all of this headed? Like, what is kind of the lessons, you know, being brought forth with these, you know, with this inner child energy, with this internal energies, with this physical energy. What is the integration of all of these? All right. And I love whenever I get to use all of my decks. All right. So we're working here. Fascinating. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I'm going to see what else comes up. So that was for the feminine. What are we doing with the masculine? Now, there's so much mirroring going on. Do I need another card for the masculine? Let's see what it is. I don't think I do. I think that's pretty clear. All right, and third energy, where are we going with this? What is the... Wow, and we got two of that. Right forward. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so for the feminine, where is this all headed? Well, it's headed into the Three of Swords, which is what the masculine had, right? So if this is, and into the 10. So I'm getting, and this isn't the most optimistic thing, but this is all part of the process right now, and it's where we're at and where, you know, kind of what we're working with and why, all right? So this is our message cards. All right, so this is the 10 of Wands and the 3 of Swords. So 3 of Swords, heartbreak, suffering, grief, emotional pain, sorrow, hurt, divorce, loss, depression. And with the 10 of Wands, you got burden, extra responsibility, hard work, and completion. Okay, so I'm getting that this is still... We're still in the midst of doing the work. It's like we're not at the fruition of the project coming into being. All right. And there's still a lot coming. Now, there's always an invitation with these reads because we get some insight around it of how we can alchemize this. So if we know that our process within is doing this bridge work, is holding these new visions, is also for ourselves feeling some nostalgia around what was, then the invitation with these two cards is like, let yourself feel that pain and discomfort. Go deeper into that. I don't know why that just popped up. It was a confirmation from the universe that we've got to feel those things so that we can let them go, all right? The burdens get released when we allow ourselves to feel those deeper emotions, when we acknowledge those looping thoughts, when we can just see them for what they are and say, okay, and it's not that we're trying to get rid of them. We're just being present with the process and saying, okay, like, here we are. With the masculine, where this is going for the masculine is the King of Pentacles, okay? So we've also noticed that lately there's been a lot of, between the masculine and feminine, there's been some like, one holds the other while the other does the thing. So, you know, I do feel like we're in more of the masculine process right now, but we could be coming up on, and maybe with this moon transit, or with this moon, you know, new moon to full moon, is that like the feminine's process is next. She's going to like do this space holding, and then this other deep layer is going to come out. Now, I really love the King of Pentacles coming up because this shows me that the masculine is integrating the work and is balancing the work. You know, the King of Pentacles he's got his shit together, and we love that about him, all right? And we know that he is... Perhaps this means that he's going to step forward to lead, okay? And hold it down a little bit more. All right, so for the third energy, or between them two, kind of how this goes, we get the 5 of Pentacles, all right, which is financial loss, lack mindset, loss, isolation, worry, need, poverty, insecurity, okay? So... what am I seeing with this? I'm almost a little stumped. And then we also get the 8 of Pentacles. Diligence, passion, high standards, apprenticeship, mastery, skill development, repetitive tasks. Okay, so this is usually a card of self-mastery. However, coming up in the third energy indicates to me that through this process, you know, this lack mindset, both within union and within our lives, is kind of being transmuted into a greater self-mastery, all right? And where that takes us, hopefully, and you know, maybe I need another card. Well, yeah, we're going to move in, I guess, into the oracle ones anyway. So we're going to do the Lumerian. No, I'm going to do one more tarot, and then I'm going to do, there's a part 4 to this video. We didn't see it going there, but we're going there, where I'll close out this full reading with the Shamanic Oracle and the Lumerian Oracle. But I want a little bit more, all right, I want another card for the feminine. The Hanged Man, okay. And another card for the masculine. Death. And another card for the shared energy. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. So, you know, I got more information because I felt like we were kind of leaving on a weird note as to like where things were going. Okay, so, you know, with these energies of the 3 of Swords and the 10 of Wands, all right? So, okay, I'm getting it now. So there's a completion happening for the feminine of this heartbreak energy, of this back and forth, of having to bridge all the time, and we're still gonna have to bridge, but of having to hold the process in this way. There's a completion coming to that. Now there's a suspension, and there's also a new illumination. A reverse of perspective is coming from having undergone this process. Now this is reflected too with the fact that this card came up for the masculine and this card came up next for the feminine. Okay, so this is almost to me that there's a message from the masculine of, all right, I've like this burden is and has been alchemized, okay? So it's almost, I'm seeing this reverse perspective. Okay, that's really helpful. I'm so glad I drew these extra cards. And that's what this death means too. It's the end of the old ways, all right? End of the old ways. And how we know this is it's the end of the old ways, of the lack consciousness, of the fear, of the thing. And what I've noticed even with the masculine is a lot more of them are able to step forward and articulate what it is that the fears are that they're having and what is holding them back. Now they hadn't previously in this process known what to do with that energy, but what I am getting very strong now, and I'm so glad we drew these extra cards because I was like, oh no, is that the self-mastery is that the masculine is becoming a master of this, right? Now, I think that the feminine have really been doing the work. I see it. I went to a business workshop last week. 98% of the audience was women, and they were there. They're like, we've been in our hearts. We're clearing our heads. Like, we've done this inner child stuff. Like, where are the men? We're ready for them. And it's not like, because we choose to want to be with them. We choose to want to have this process. All right. And we're ready for them to step forward. So this death card is symbolic of the end of the old ways, and a new perspective is emerging. And that new perspective, are you ready, y'all? 9 of Cups, all right? So that internal energy that has been, which we got earlier, if you don't remember, we got this 9 of Cups here, all right? Wishes come true, contentment, satisfaction, emotional stability, luxury, and gratitude, all right? So we're feeling this strength and this compassion move forward and step forward to guide us more fully, all right? This is really good news, and it's all on point, right? It's like, and it's also these cards. It's this, we had, 8 of Cups and then 8 of Pentacles. And what are the 8s? And manifestation, practicality, skill, absolute decisions, business, and the ego. Okay. So, yeah. So I feel like it's the walking away from this old and really stepping into this new future thing. And the future thing is the wishes coming true. All right. And this is consistent in all of the third energy kind of moving across. It's like it's like, what has limited us is this lack consciousness, all right? Is the ways that we have, that we have been limited, okay? And, in our other third energies before, we had this, this Blue Lotus card, which really just felt like this new earth energy. It is this dreams coming true. I really do feel that it's this 8 of Cups. It's the balance of these things, all right? Now, we know that in the end of all of this process, you know, we are in the process, we are in the journey. And you know, I saw a cute little meme the other day, and it said, it's not the it was like, where are we going? And it's like, it doesn't matter where we're going, it's who we're going there with that matters, because that is indicative of the process that we are undergoing as we project along. So I am going to do one more part of this reading. So there's a surprise part 4, which I love, because the 4s are really bringing in this like union, this sacred union, marriage. We're going to draw Lemurian cards and shamanic oracle cards, and we are going to see how this all is tied together in part 4. So please tune into that, and I'll see you there. It's time to keep going.